Hello and welcome to your post-daily news show for Wednesday, March the 2nd. I am John Pollock, back here in my home surroundings, joined by Wai Ting. Hello, Wai.
Still here in my home surroundings.
Yes. I knocked on your door today. You said, no, not a chance. I'm done. And I walked home.
We'll see again in about 4 months.
Yeah, we spaced them out, our visits. We have, we catch up and then we run away from each other for several months. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, John. Yeah, not so bad. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Busy morning.
It'll be a busy evening too because for those of you who missed it, we are going to be doing our Raw and Dynamite reviews live on YouTube from this point on. This was something that we initially had saved for our Double Plus patrons, but now we're going to make them available to everybody. So make sure you guys join us right here at about 10:15 Eastern time when we start right after Dynamite tonight as we talk about the show live on youtube.com/postwrestling.
Yes, subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up on the video, and we will be live here tonight at 10:15 p.m. Eastern time for everybody to discuss Tony Khan's big announcement that he revealed on Busted Open today, that he will be revealing this announcement himself on Dynamite. So a rare appearance by Tony Khan on Dynamite itself.
Okay, great. How many variations of, hey, I've got a big announcement, I'm going to make the announcement, I'm going to announce that I'm going to be making
anyone
an
can tease
announcement.
an announcement, but it's teasing like the type of announcement it will be and how the announcement will be delivered. That is the layers behind this announcement that you can get all these.
I love the teases. I love it.
Well, are you expecting like how big does this have to be? I think most are looking at this more so as something that would be concerning AEW as a whole, rather than we have signed X or this has certainly been built up enough that it has to be something of significance for the growth of the company.
Yeah, it seems like he's making a bigger deal out of this than any particular signing. I mean, the Punk one, I suppose, not necessarily in the same category, nor was it necessarily teased like this in so much mystery. So I'm in agreement that I don't think it's any one particular individual, and maybe more so something involving potential some sort of streaming on demand service, perhaps, just something more to do with the business side of things. And yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I'm kind of surprised at how few, maybe, concrete rumors we might actually have.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll get into it because Chris Harrington was on Wrestlenomics with Brandon Thurston on Tuesday, and we'll discuss that interview a bit more later in the show. But I mean, if you take Chris Harrington at his word, like, he does not know what this will be, noting that Tony Khan has like multiple deals that are constantly on the go that he is not going to know until Tony Khan reveals this.
Yeah. It's certainly an interesting way of deflecting, like, or at least giving a non-answer. Well, he's got so many surprises. I can't just name one.
He's got the whole year booked of his announcements. He's got his announcement schedule on the whiteboard. Anyway, so that is going to be happening tonight. I guess it's the major focus of the show, which, I mean, strategically, you put a lot of eyes and intrigue behind this announcement, and it gets people to tune in for, you do have the live Rampage on Friday, but this is really the big go-home show for Revolution on Sunday. So it's kind of, it's got a dual purpose of what this announcement will do, and hopefully bringing a healthy audience that will, more people are going to be buying the show after tonight than were 24 hours earlier. We are going to go into, first of all, the latest details concerning the shooting that went down on Monday, leading to Cain Velasquez's arrest. And new details have emerged from the San Jose Mercury News, reporting that allegedly Cain Velasquez shot at a group of individuals. It's believed to be three, one of whom was accused of molesting a relative of Cain Velasquez's, and they are very clear about protecting the identity. This is a minor that we are talking about, but this individual, 43-year-old Harry Eugene Goularte, was facing a felony count of lewd and a lascivious act with a child under the age of 14, had been arraigned last Friday and granted a supervised release despite objections from the district attorney's office in Santa Clara County. And Velasquez, I mean, that looks to be the motive here. Velasquez is scheduled to appear in court today, and I guess with these circumstances coming out, this is one where it is hard to look at what the court of law is going to rule in this way, but the court of public opinion has been very supportive behind Cain Velasquez given these extreme circumstances. I don't think anyone is going to condone gun violence, but this is it's a very dark story. It's a very tragic story involving a minor, and it's just a very, very difficult story to comprehend, and what this is going to mean for Cain Velasquez and what charge he is going to face, and potential prison time or what penalty could come with this.
Yeah, I mean, when the story broke, the idea of Cain Velasquez being involved in a shooting, I think itself was shocking enough. When details emerged that he was the one who was actually doing the shooting, I mean, certainly the story continued to deepen, and I personally, I was definitely waiting for some more details to come out before kind of making my own judgment, but it didn't look good for Cain. But there are few, I think, justifications, and not to even say this is, but at least, again, in the court of public opinion, there are few justifications for somebody running up on somebody and shooting them. And, aiming for a potential somebody who is an accused child molester, is one of those public opinion justifications that is understandable. Again, I'm not going to say I condone any form of vigilante justice in this way, especially when it endangers so many other people. But at least in the court of public opinion, it seems like a lot of people do understand, because I think if anybody were to put themselves in a similar situation, who knows, So there continues to be, I'm sure, more details that will emerge. I imagine, eventual trial. We're probably going to learn a lot more horrific details attached to the story, but it's a shitty case all around.
Yeah, and it should be noted that the person that was shot was the stepfather of the individual who had been accused of molesting the child, and it was his parents were running this daycare out of their home. So it was not the individual that was shot. It was his stepfather that was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. So the next chapter of this is Cain Velasquez's court appearance and where this goes next. It's stunning details, but that adds a lot of added context to this story that we will continue to monitor. We move on to Raw from Monday night. They did 1,753,000 viewers and 611,000 viewers in the 18 to 49 demo, finishing with a .47. Numbers coming from Showbuzz Daily and Wrestlenomics. And they, again, this was a night with very heavy cable news coverage with the ongoing invasion of Ukraine. And therefore, news was up significantly on Monday. And Raw, usually this time of year, they would be number one on cable. They still managed to tie along with Tucker Carlson on Monday. And I would say that is as much as you're going to hold up here. They were down 4% in viewership, down 8% in the demo, down 10% in 18 to 34. But in terms of their first to third hour decline, it was much more minimal. Like they peaked in the second hour. The first to third hour drop was only 3% in viewers, while the demo went from a 4.6 to a 4.9 back to a 4.6. So from hour 1 to 3, it stabilized. And maybe some of that was the intrigue of this Edge announcement in the third hour. 18 to 34 grew 17% throughout the show. So while down slightly, it was against a lot of news coverage, and the third hour, was performed better than most weeks where you see a much more precipitous decline.
Yeah, I mean, again, is it WrestleMania season that's being attributed? The show itself,
announcements draw.
What sort of announcements? I mean, Edge's announcement, was that really it?
I mean, that's if you look at the two things that were promoted throughout the weekend, it was the Edge appearance and the idea of his announcement, and you probably would have had some people speculating about, hey, if I stick around, is there a chance Cody is showing up for that spot?
You think there's still that amount of people that are waiting at this point?
Well, remember, like Cody was like posting like, his cryptic Instagram posts that night as well. So I think that is going to funnel people that if they are hoping to see him and he's dropping hints, that's going to lead a fan to be optimistic to think, hey, I don't want to miss this. This could be a cool debut.
Yeah, I'm very curious how long.
And instead, they got evil Doc Brown, as you dubbed him.
I'm just kind of curious how long people would willingly stick around for 3 hours upon 3 hours upon 3 hours of this Monday Night Raw.
Well, the answer is 1,685,000 on average would stick around for the third hour.
All right. Well, cool.
And huge numbers in Canada, of course. 220,200, their highest since January 3rd. And 103,900 in the 25 to 54 demo. They were second among sports programs in the demo on Monday, edging out the Raptors game and just behind the NHL. So it was a very good number for Raw in Canada as well. So, I mean, had to have been that Edge announcement.
It must have been.
Huge.
Yeah, it must have been.
We continue on, and lots to discuss here. There is even more updates coming out of WrestleMania. I think we're going to get announcements fast and furious throughout the weeks now in the lead up to all of these shows. And I know what you're thinking. There's so many WrestleMania shows. There's so many match announcements. Is there just a one-stop shop where I can get all of my WrestleMania week information? Why, yes, you can. At postwrestling.com, we have just put up our annual WrestleMania week schedule. Every show listed. Every match listing, and this will be constantly updated in the weeks to come, and all of that information is there for the largely Thursday through Sunday. That's like it's not as though it's real, like it's all condensed into pretty much 3 days this year.
This is a lot of wrestling, yeah. And you and I aren't necessarily traveling this year, but if you are, you certainly do not have any shortage of options. More than you can physically attend, that's for sure. And that's, again, available at postwrestling.com/mania if you want a quick URL. Also, there's a button right here.
Ooh, it was button worthy.
Button worthy, yeah.
Yes, huge undertaking to get that button up there. But thank you very much. So, latest announcements include the Hitmakers, which are the rebranded Hit Row of Tahuti Miles and AJ Francis will be taking on Shane Taylor Promotions on For the Culture. They've also added Trisha Dora for that show. Wai Ting's main event of WrestleMania week. Clear out all the other shows. If you have to boil it down to one match, one show that Wai Ting is going to be scoping out, it's Spring Break Part 2, late Friday night, Minoru Suzuki versus Effie.
These sort of spring break announcements are usually the most exciting for me during a WrestleMania weekend because they'll complete craziest sort of mashups of wrestlers of different styles and of different characters. And typically, I think you could pair Minoru Suzuki with almost like anybody from that GCW roster, and it'd be pretty interesting.
Could you imagine him with like Grim Reaper?
I'm sure at some point that they will book that if they can get Suzuki on for enough dates. But yeah, Effie Suzuki, sign me up. I mean, how many spots is Suzuki going to be willing to participate in?
Dude, Suzuki doesn't come to the U.S. to just chill. This guy's he books his dates up quick. He's got several.
I'm guessing he pretty much says yes to anybody. Right? Like, is there a person he would say no to? I mean,
he's got dates, and he's got dates outside of WrestleMania week. He's just been announced, I believe, for AEW out of Cleveland. I mean, he's gonna be all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. Fujiwara one day, and then Effie another month.
They've also put out the entire AAA card, which is going to be part of WrestleCon. You can go to the site for the full list of matches there. And then ROH has announced Alex Zane against Swerve, the former Isaiah Scott, for Supercard of Honor on April 1st. Also adding Joe Hendry, Ninja Mac, and the guest host for ROH Supercard of Honor will be Denise Salcedo.
Very cool. Former guest on our Christmas show.
That is true. So those are some of the latest announcements. And moving back to the Wrestlenomics interview, Chris Harrington did a rare interview with Brandon Thurston on Tuesday night. Did you get a chance to listen to the interview?
I did. I listened to it this morning.
So they chatted for about 45 minutes, and this was sort of a kind of update, state of AEW type of interview where they went and covered a bunch of topics and kind of gearing everything towards Revolution. Any topics in particular that you were surprised that were raised, or major takeaways from the discussion?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any really kind of one singular topic that, really, I would say, like, shocked or surprised me, but maybe it was just more of a general sense of, I think, how he looks at data and how AEW themselves look at data. And I think the continued emphasis, and this is something Brandon says often, the continued emphasis on not necessarily focusing on sort of like the minute week-to-week details, and more so focusing on, broad trends. And if a rating is down one particular week, I mean, it's probably not as upsetting as you would take it to be by looking at Twitter reactions, for instance. And it doesn't seem like they concern themselves that much with, minor fluctuations.
Yeah, they talked a lot about the recent report in the Observer about just the level of secondary market business, and it does seem that they have a solid belief in keeping their prices lower. They want to encourage people that can go with their friends and family and make this affordable, and do not feel they need to adjust their pricing. And also talked a bit about the difficulties of running on the West Coast with the announcement of the California dates this week, and the fact that you are going live at 5 p.m. in LA and hoping to have an arena full of fans, late afternoon, as opposed to Eastern time zones or even Central time zone locations that are a bit more easy for a night out. And talking about as well the different restrictions and safety in certain areas as we are still continuing to navigate COVID, and called it a milestone to get into Michigan as well as California, and that Canada, he doesn't see it as an obstacle COVID-wise getting into the country, but more so you want to probably have like a strategy in place, and it comes down to timing. I don't think you would want to come to a market like Toronto just to do Dynamite and Rampage. I think you want to build it up to be, like, I think it should be one of those bigger pay-per-views. And as we talked about yesterday, if you believe that Double or Nothing is going to be tied to Las Vegas and All Out is going to be in Chicago every year, that leaves you 2 pay-per-view dates, at least of the current format, and you probably have a lot of markets you want to be going to, and it's not so easy as just, hey, we're going to earmark this pay-per-view for Toronto. You only have 2 of them in theory to have that wiggle room with.
It's true, yeah. I mean, but depending on maybe the size of venue that they'd be looking at, maybe it would be worth their while to simply come up for one big show. I also found it interesting, hearing Brandon ask him about perhaps the Big Bang Theory effect, and Chris, I mean, seemed to, maybe give some credit to it, but not necessarily give all the credit to the Big Bang Theory necessarily being the reasons why, they're doing as well as they are.
It's, I mean, a strong lead-in is better than a weaker lead-in, but you're going to see, NXT had, a good lead-in on the USA Network when they were on Wednesdays. But I think you certainly have to look at it as it's an advantage that AEW has that was not one that maybe was foreseen when we were looking at this move to TBS, of kind of that impact of having something a bit more strong as your lead-in. Didn't really want to go into like specifics about numbers in terms of how AEW has grown employee-wise, other than to cite many different departments that have grown. And as well, something interesting just about the different patterns they have seen in viewing trends for Rampage airing from 10 to 11 versus last week at 7 to 8, and how they book a show on a Wednesday versus a Friday in different time slots and different nights of the week. And I think that is an interesting pattern to learn from when you do see the quarters that come out pretty consistently. Didn't really want to comment on Rampage and SmackDown going head-to-head in October. It seemed like did not want to throw anything out there that was going to be taken as some strike at WWE. With the Brandon brought up the Toronto Star article, and Chris said he had no response. Everyone has a right to their opinion regarding the self-mutilation comment, and he loved the women's match that they had on Rampage that night.
Yeah, understandably choosing to be diplomatic in a lot of the responses, and probably not wanting any of his words to be taken out of context. And as somebody who obviously has seemed to study a great deal of perhaps public speaking, in covering this for
I
WrestleNomics
think
in the past.
he has definitely adapted to be like he's an executive representing the company. Like this is that's going to be a shift from someone that, if you were listening to WrestleNomics, is on the other side of the fence. It's a complete role reversal now. So anyway, that interview is up on the WrestleNomics feed that you can check out that Brandon did. It's about 45 minutes in length. As we are speaking, Tony Khan is doing a conference call. So we will, if there's anything significant, and there will probably be some notes coming out of that, we'll have that up on the site and can discuss further tonight. NXT on Tuesday night, we're not going to go through all of it. I did not get a chance to see all of NXT, but the key stuff is that next week they're building up to another big show, NXT Roadblock, where we will have a triple threat match for the NXT Championship with Braun Breaker, Tommaso Ciampa, and Dolph Ziggler. They're also going to do the tag title match with Imperium against the Creed Brothers that featured a really good video package to promote that, and a last man standing match between, I was going to say Eli Drake, LA Knight, and Grayson Waller for next Tuesday.
Similar. Similar.
Roadblock,
yeah, bring back that name.
Yes.
Was that not the show in Toronto?
That was the Toronto show with Hunter and Dean Ambrose in the main event. Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Bring that name back of all the names. But why not? At this point, you have so many trademarks that are dormant at this point. So bring back Roadblock. Okay. I mean, Roadblock is typically what? Like WrestleMania. Like it plays on the whole motif of like the road to WrestleMania, right? So I guess
this is the roadblock before stand and deliver. You can't stand nor deliver until you get past the roadblock.
Well, we certainly are well aware of that over the past month, with many people blocking our roads to take a stand for something. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Very political topic here from NXT 2.0. I was very confused though. Maybe you can explain this to me. The opening tag match saw Ciampa and Breaker come out in, they called them Steiner themed attire.
Steiner.
I don't understand the connection. Who's Steiner? What's a babyface?
Steiner. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. It seems kind of random. Maybe they mean. Can you think of any famous Steiners?
Famous Steiners.
Steiner.
Famous Steiners.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm really drawing a blank.
Yeah.
It was a good tag match, though.
Yeah, I unfortunately did not catch it, so this makes a couple of weeks where I haven't really been following NXT. So I've been bad. I'm gonna jump back in, especially.
You've encountered a roadblock, but maybe you can get around that next week. One other note coming out of the show was that Amari Miller, in her match with Last Legend, confirmed afterwards that she suffered a concussion. She lost the match, and then this wasn't shown on television, but footage of it made its way online from fans that were at the building, that she was taken out on a stretcher. So hopefully she makes a quick recovery from that concussion. Then we had the New Japan Cup on Wednesday morning with 8 opening round matches. I saw pretty much all of the undercard. I did not see the top 2 matches, but we got advancing. In the main event, Kazuchika Okada beat El Desperado. This sounded like a terrific match. They went over 26 minutes, Okada winning with the Rainmaker, so that will set up Okada facing Master Wato in the second round. Tetsuya Naito beat his former partner Yujiro, 18 minutes and 11 seconds. That 18-11, an 18-minute Yujiro match, which sets up the bigger match of Tetsuya Naito against Gedo. And if that one goes 18 minutes, Jesus. Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Yo in a 16:50. I did see this. I thought Yo performed very well here. Tanahashi gave him quite a lot in this, and then in the end won with a dragon suplex as a nod to Tatsumi Fujinami. Taichi versus Toru Yano. This was your match, Wei. So Yano he gets this big blue garbage bag that he tries to put onto Taichi, who uses Miho Abe as a shield, and then the bag gets put all over Yano's body. Like, this is a giant bag, and Yano's trapped in the bag on the floor, and he rolls in. He's got to feel his way to get back into the ring at 19, and then the bag ends up over the referee. So when Yano goes for the roll-up, the ref is trapped inside of this garbage bag, and then Yano commits the sin of taking Taichi's pants off.
Oh, okay.
This is Taichi's move that he does, and it was taken from him.
Yeah.
And this fired Taichi up. He sent Yano into an exposed buckle, Ghetto clutch for a 2, and for the last 2 minutes, they just went at a fast pace, and it ended with a sumo stance and forearm smash by Taichi as Taichi won in 6 minutes and 24 seconds. All of that was done in 6:24. So the winner of they get the Tenzan bye in round 2, so they go to round 3 and will face either Okada or Master Wato. Jeff Cobb beat Togi Makabe with the Tour of the Islands in 8:10, setting up Cobb and Kojima. Just like, big man power match that saw Cobb sell for a little bit and then destroy Makabe in the end. Hiroki Goto and Yuji Nagata saw Goto win with the Goto Shiki in 12:38, and they set up this arm injury to Goto after he clotheslined the post, and Nagata worked over the arm using the Nagata Lock 2, and then the Fujiwara armbar with the eyes rolling back. But Goto wins, and again, this second round, just some of these matches, like now this sets up Goto against Dick Togo.
Oh boy.
You got Geto in the next round. You got Dick Togo in the next round. Honma and Yoshihashi had a really good match. This was 9:45, and just like Yoshihashi having it turned on and Honma realizing, I've got one tournament match here, so let's go all out here. And Honma just goes down after multiple lariats. He was able to hit the Kokeshi, but Yoshihashi wins at the end with Karma. Very, very good match. And that sets up Yoshihashi and Kosei Fujita. And it opened with Shima defeating Taka Michinoku in 9:49 with the Meteora. And this, better than you expect. Like for a 10-minute opener involving Taka Michinoku, they had a very nice opener. So that was their second night at Budokan Hall. Only 2,007 fans at Budokan. They did around 3,100 the night before, so hardly overflowing crowds here at Budokan Hall. But they are off now until Sunday when the tournament continues in Fukushima, which was the show that was supposed to feature Kota Ibushi's first round match, but he's off. So I think it's Will Ospreay and Bushi in the main event of that show.
Right. Yeah, I did catch the main event, which was awesome. Seeing El Desperado in such a big stage with somebody like Kazuchika Okada, and he looked absolutely fantastic. So I would recommend if people are interested to at least go check out that main event from tonight.
I would assume probably the match of the show. It seemed to get a lot of praise for that show, so I will still have to go and watch that. So beyond Tony Khan's announcement, tonight on Dynamite, they're at Daly's Place in Jacksonville. This has not been a big selling card for AEW in terms of selling tickets to. But for the go-home show, for the pay-per-view, they have Hangman Page, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds take on Adam Cole and Red Dragon, the Casino Tag Team Battle Royale, and whatever Tony Khan's announcement will be, and Dr. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter taking on Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez has also been added. So quite a few gaps that might be filled throughout the afternoon going into it, with only 3 matches announced thus far.
Yeah, kind of unusual for Dynamite. I mean, most of the hook will be Tony Khan making this announcement, and beyond that,
the Battle Royal should probably be a lengthier match with all the entrances paced out.
Yeah. Do you think we get the announcement at the top or later on in the show?
No, I think they probably do it later in the show. That would be my assumption.
Okay,
just a pure guess.
Yeah. But I mean, it is the go-home show for Revolution. I think it's a card that everybody is already quite interested in. And I wait to see CM Punk's reaction.
I think that's the most intriguing thing, and they've announced nothing for tonight. But to me, you need a huge Punk promo on this show, because that to me is the most intriguing program for Sunday. And his follow-up and response to last week, I would say that's the most interesting thing going into tonight for me.
Completely. We got one super chat here before we get out of here, and that comes from Felipe, our friend Felipe from Chile, who sends 1,000 Chilean. I don't know the actual the denomination. What is it? Is it? It begins with a P. Felipe says, "Thanks for the Jinx recommendation. Any other? What did you recommend that?
The Jinx documentary, yeah. That's on HBO. Yeah, we talked about that a while. Chilean peso.
Chilean peso. Okay, thought so. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
Any other recommendations?
Yeah. I can't remember. You had not watched the Jinx, right?
No, I have not.
Okay. This is the one with like the unreal ending. It's just the best ending. For documentaries, man, it's a real difficult watch. But I did recently watch the 4-part series on Bill Cosby. We've got to talk about Bill Cosby. It's It's really, really well done, and it's really hard to listen to. Just story after story after story after story. Like it's kind of this breakdown of this guy who was just such a pivotal black icon, and now you have to confront this just horrid history that was just went on unchecked for years, and so many of the stories that resemble the others, and hearing from so many of the victims that were willing to speak on camera and relive these, like, the most horrifying experience of their life, being drugged by this individual and sexually assaulted, and just the volume of them, it will make your stomach turn. But it was an unbelievably well put together documentary. So not a light watch, but I recently watched that one and would recommend it.
What's it called?
We have to talk about Bill Cosby, or we've got to talk about Bill Cosby, something of that. Yeah, I might have the words mixed up.
I've been watching The Bachelor.
Okay. Okay.
Not quite the same realm, but just as realistic and documentary like.
Actually, I've started watching that series, Only Murders in the Building, on Netflix with Steve Martin,
yeah, I've seen
Martin
it.
Short, and Selena Gomez.
It's really good.
I'm really hooked on it. Yeah, we're almost done it. It's we've been watching it like every night. I've really enjoyed this. I just watched episode 7, which, this isn't spoiling anything. The whole episode is done without dialogue, or in terms of no one speaks. It's all subtitled.
Okay.
It was really fascinating. I thought they were at parts where they are really kind of going out of their way to stay true to this theme of the show, but overall, it's like, I will always applaud like ambitious ideas like that, to try doing a 30-minute episode where not one word is spoken.
That's really interesting, and I think something that we're using podcasts now in our TV shows. I mean, it's a show that focuses on a true crime podcast, of course.
Yeah. Where apparently the benchmark for success is 1,200 downloads. So that made me feel great.
Oh, really? Is that what they said?
That was in one of the episodes. I think they said like 1,200 is like considered successful.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that is good.
I'd recommend that too. That's a much more easier watch than the Bill Cosby doc. But there you go, some recommendations. Thank you, Felipe, for your Chilean peso. And that's going to wrap things up. We are back tonight live right here, youtube.com/postwrestling, live and free for all at 10:15 p.m. Eastern time, 15 minutes after Dynamite concludes. So we look forward to many of you joining us. And do leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it all. And that will wrap up your Post Daily News Show.